Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight for the Ubuntu Commendation Awards for Resilience and for Innovation. It's been a very, very difficult year for many, many, many people, and we've all been challenged in a way or another. And we felt it was important to take this time to recognize people who had survived and have done well as a result of their own effort, their own resilience, their own innovation. I'm Sharon Constanson. I'm Chairman of the South African Chamber of Commerce, and I welcome you here with us tonight. I understand we have got people from more than one continent, at least 3 or 4, and I really appreciate the support that you've been giving to the Chamber over the year, 18 months now of the COVID environment. I think in itself, the Chamber has been innovative, probably, in terms of being able to switch to an online environment. And looking forward, it's probably the way we're going to go in terms of having many online environments so that we can get the quality of speakers we need and the quality of attendance that we would love to see. But there'll be, fortunately, returning soon, the plans are going into place for face-to-face events that will be happening from the beginning of next year in earnest. But actually, we have our first one in October, which is the 12th of October for those of you in London. Please join us for drinks. We're having a nice casual get-together at the Vivat Bacchus restaurant. So that will be the beginning of the getting together. We will have some cocktail drinks, hopefully in late November or December, and then we will start our face-to-face event. The nice part with the face-to-face event is if you are based in South Africa or in the US or in Europe or just out of town from London, you'll still be able to join us on the Zoom environment. We'll be making that available even for our live events. So thank you very much for joining us. We've got quite a large number of people that are with us so far. Some businesses have survived. Those are the people and the individuals and the companies that we are going to be recognizing today, whether it's something they did in their community, something they did in an SME, or something they did within a larger organization. Last year's awards focused on people delivering care and to those in need, and often at great risk to their own health and their own survival. This year we're celebrating innovation, so it's a different focus. It's not for us to not consider those who had a caring role during this last year. Extremely important that they who were there, that they existed, and that they were all part of the fabric that have actually kept so many people alive during this period. I think, yes, the other thing we want to just talk about is the adversity that people have had to deal with. And that is some of the things that we, unfortunately, have all been suffering, where we've not seen things work out the way that we want to. But that is what life is about, and that is what resilience is about. And that's about us actually just pulling ourselves together. And as we say in some of my day job environment, take 10 deep breaths and you can cope and you can respond. Next time it happens, you take 5 deep breaths, because you don't need 10 deep breaths anymore, because you've learned how to do it. By the time the same issue or similar issue comes to face you, you don't need to take the deep breaths at all. You will respond correctly because you have learned. Resilience can be learned. And that's something I think we can all take from today, is that we can learn from those people that have been resilient. There are some beautiful moments that we're going to be sharing with you today. We've got a couple of speakers. We've broken up the commendations into 3 lots. No rationale, no reason, just that they fit together, rate at which they came in, and of different styles. So please enjoy the evening with us. Please use the chat function that's there. If there are any questions that you would like to ask or you would like to have answered, please, by all means, put that into the Q&A function. We'd really appreciate it. And I see people are telling us where they're from and the different continents are going into the chat facility. Please use that as well. Appreciate that. So we're going to start with the right moment that one does when you're doing something for your country, and that is the anthem. The Chamber has created a very special version of the South African anthem. And please sing as loud as you can back at home and just enjoy the version with us that we are going to share with you now, and then we'll get into the rest of the evening.
Nkosi sikeleli Afrika sa Jesu. Ufedi se bitwale maswenye o seguro que se chavasa Jesu se chavasa South Africa South Africa die blauw van ons hemel, uit die diepte van ons Heer. Oor ons eeuwige gebergtes, waar die kranse antwoord gee. Sounds the call to come together.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I always do. We put this together last year, and this was a collection of singers that all recorded this event, the anthem separately in their own environments in the depth of early lockdown. And this was part of our solidarity effort and bringing people together when they were all in such remote environments to support the music industry within South Africa and to create something that we could use to bring people together, to get people to sing. We even got a couple of school choirs to join us on a few occasions and really used it to uplift spirits, and then used it in the solidarity, run up to the solidarity walk that we did back in August last year. And that was where the chamber and its members walked the distance from Cape Town to Beitbridge and back to Cape Town in a remote environment and raised funds for South Africa in the early days of the pandemic. So thanks to all the musicians who went out of their way to create that. And it still is, for me, quite an emotional piece of music. Really, really nice to have it. The next stage, I see we've got a couple of thanks, and I do appreciate that. And other people seem to enjoy it as much as I do. The next stage of our presentation, our evening, is a talk to you by Tembi Tambo, better known, correctly known as Her Excellency Nomatamba Tambo. She is the High Commissioner to the UK from South Africa. She is of the famous Tambo family, and she was brought up in the UK. And the beautiful thing is when she and I stand next to each other, she sounds so perfectly British, and I don't. And it's actually quite interesting because I have more British heritage in the blood, and she has it in her schooling, in her education, and in different aspects of her life. And it's just so beautiful to listen to her. She would normally have been with us tonight, but she's not able to make it due to ill health. So she has sent me some words to share with you. First, accept my apology that I cannot be with you tonight, albeit virtually. These are trying times in every country and on all continents. These awards and the recognition of rising above circumstances to chart uncharted territory is extremely important and quite necessary. Often it is the most trying times, the times that when it seems that we may not endure, that produces an undiscovered resilience, which we discover circumstantially. It is this that we regard that it is in this regard that I personally salute all the recipients of these awards. As you know, from health, poverty to climate, as citizens of the globe, we have to accept that acting differently, resiliently, is the only way we can navigate out of the many crises gripping the world currently. Let's use all of our collective energies to support those who have found new and innovative ways to dust off the effects of a globally crippling 2020 and to walk steadfastly into 2021. I salute you. very positive, uplifting, and wonderful words from Her Excellency Nomathemba Tambo. So I know she has been unwell, and it is very unfortunate that she's not been able to make it. It is the first time in her full tenure here of nearly 5 years that she's been unable to step up to the plate for anything that she does for the chamber, which is plenty. She is an honorary member of the chamber due to her role, and we are going to be missing her desperately in next year as her term ends at the end of this year. So hopefully we have made found friends with Nomathemba Tambo, and we'll be seeing plenty of her not in her honorary membership role, but as a friend of the chamber. She's been absolutely wonderful, so supportive. But Timby, if you are listening, thank you very much. I think you might be listening to the tape afterwards when you're feeling better. Thank you very much for everything you've done for us and for your wonderful works. I hope I did them justice. We're now going to just listen to some of the commendations. We have broken them up into the 3 sets, as I mentioned, and we will be just having a brief look at the first lot.
My name is Andy Coppin and I am a storyteller. Before lockdown 2020, all my work was done in person. But over the last year and a half, I've moved the entire business online into what is a very saturated market. But I'm pleased to say I now deliver a CPD accredited program called Applied Storytelling 360. You see, I believe your story matters, and you telling your story in your own voice matters too.
My name is Brian Kotelo, Chair of Kotelo Mbekeni Foundation. The foundation adapted by finding other ways of engaging in sport activity, Jogo, which got South African runners tackling the length of Great Britain and raising funds while observing COVID-19 rules. Planning an event of this magnitude under the circumstances required a lot of adjustment and resilience to achieve the intended outcomes. Thank you.
When I started my small soup kitchen in 2011, never did I dream that we will come to a point where we are serving more than 10,000 kids in a few years by also providing 2 meals a day. And this all because of your immense generosity.
Hi, I'm Cherry Armstrong, founder and CEO of Celebrate Life SA. We have developed a sustainable model of women empowerment and community upliftment in South Africa, utilizing an innovative baker training system and our specialized wood-fired ovens called the Ubuntu Micro Bakery Project. Since COVID struck in early 2020, we have placed more than 40 ovens and trained more than 160 new female bakers, giving them the skills to run their own businesses. With each oven producing up to 40 loaves of bread per day, We estimate our ovens are feeding close to 10,000 children every day. Thank you for our nomination.
The pandemic pressed us to innovate in ways that, in normal circumstances, may have taken years. WhatsApp and study packs became our classrooms. We installed Wi-Fi in all schools and built digital skills for teachers and children, expanded our teaching programs across all years, and delivered food to 8,000 vulnerable people. 18 months on, these initiatives continue to support 6,000 children. Our schools are more resilient, and we are ambitious to keep building a better future for all.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. I must admit, this is the first time I've had the opportunity to look at some of these videos, and there's a few people there I know and we have showcased in earlier days. Some of them were new to me, others have won awards in previous occasions, and it's just so wonderful to see them stepping up and sharing with us what they have achieved, which is absolutely amazing. You will see on your camera the famous, well-known achiever, previous High Commissioner to South Africa, Lord Paul Boateng. And Lord Boateng, I really do appreciate you coming and spending the time with us today. It really, really is an honor to have you with us. I remember walking in one of the buildings of the government and seeing a painting. And I have to say the painting was much bigger than you. It was huge up on the wall. I thought, big man, now I see you and you're only this size. It's not fair, is it? Paul Boateng was born in Hackney in London of Ghanaian Scottish heritage. His family later moved to Ghana, and when he was very young, his father was a lawyer and a cabinet minister. So there's politics that have been in his life for a long period of time. And he with his sister, he ended up coming back to the UK due to troubles in Africa at the time. I'm not going to go through his whole career because that is boring. You're actually coming here to listen to the man, but a man who has followed in his father's footsteps in terms of being both a barrister, going legal. He was a barrister. His father was also in politics. And he did a lot for South Africa in the times that he was High Commissioner there. We now have a new High Commissioner who's just joined South Africa in this last week or so. So we get to meet some of the most wonderful people in the role of the South African Chamber. And Lord Boateng, you are another one of those amazing people to meet. We had such a laugh on the phone the other day, which was really wonderful. So I would like to hand over to you for our keynote address to South Africans abroad. And we have got them from all over the place, I can see.
Sharon, Chairman, members of the Chamber, and as I learned to say in your wonderful country in South Africa, all the feathers of the eagle, which means all of us on this call, all of us at this webinar. And it comes from that wonderful African proverb that it's each and every feather that makes the eagle soar. And if you think about it, if you think about that great bird, which is after all the symbol of South Africa, you think about that bird, all different feathers, different shapes, different weights, different colors. It's all of them working together that gives that great bird its lift. And so it is with us today. And we've never needed to celebrate resilience and innovation more than at this moment as we grapple with a global pandemic. A pandemic that has been trying for all of us at so many different levels, but a pandemic that has also revealed deep-rooted inequalities in our world, and that has exacerbated, made worse those inequalities. And nowhere has that been more evident than in terms of the distribution and availability of access to those vaccines that hold the key to enabling us to escape the impact of this pandemic. And I just want to touch on that a little this day, but also to stress that even as we tackle the issue of vaccine inequality and access, we have also to bear in mind just how important it is to address this issue, because without it, we are not going to defeat the pandemic, because we are all in this together. Ubuntu is exactly what this is all about. We are what we are because of each other. And the reality is, as the Director General of the WHO has said, is that none of us will be safe until everyone is safe. And that's been underpinned, that point has been underpinned by the results of the work of institutions such as the Pearson Institute on International Economics that reveal that epidemics anywhere threaten immunizations everywhere. So unless we tackle the epidemic in South Africa and its impact there, in the rest of Africa, then all the immunization efforts here in the UK will be for nothing. And yet we know that the WHO estimates that some 16.2 billion doses will be needed in 2021-22 to achieve a universal level of vaccination globally that will make us all safe. And yet, even as we know of that figure, the reality is that here in the UK, even after we've delivered the boosters, even after we've delivered it to the youthful cohort, we will still have a surplus of 210 million doses. That's while the vast bulk of the global south and of the countries of the global south have an immunization level of something like 2%. And South Africa continues to be challenged in that regard. And yet South Africa is so very much part of the solution, because there exists in South Africa the infrastructure and the capacity, the skills to help address the global shortage of vaccines, to enable Africa to produce and manufacture its own vaccine response to the COVID pandemic. And so it is for us at this time to focus on how we can ensure that the relationship between South Africa and the UK that is so very important is a positive one that enhances the capacity of South Africa and other African countries to step up to the plate so they are enabled themselves to contribute to the need for vaccines by their own manufacture. And I just like to draw attention to two important initiatives in that regard. First, the initiative of South Africa with India at the WTO to temporarily waive relevant intellectual property rules under TRIPS, so that COVID-19 vaccines and other global technologies can be shared until we have achieved that universal access to vaccine that's necessary to make us all safe. Now, South Africa is to be congratulated for that initiative, but it's an initiative that needs the support of the United Kingdom, so far not forthcoming. And I can assure you that there is a bipartisan effort in both houses of Parliament in order to get the UK on side, backing South Africa in this important initiative. The other area too, where again, it's all about innovation, isn't it? That's where our nominees are so important today, because they show the pool of innovators that we have on the continent of Africa and that you have in South Africa. The other is an important initiative within South Africa that again is a public-private partnership that brings together the Medicines Patent Pool, the WHO, Afrigen Biologics, BioVac in South Africa, the South African Medical Research Council, the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that brings them together in order to create a hub, a tech transfer hub in South Africa itself that will enable the production and the distribution of COVID vaccines on the continent, but also provide the manufacturing capacity going forward for us to deal with other public health emergencies and requirements. Now, that's an initiative that is well worth supporting. It is an initiative that requires a greater degree of international backing in terms of the international financial institutions, but it shows just what Africa can do, what South Africa can do with its leadership to help Africa address its issues. So it's African solutions for African problems. It's Africa playing its part globally in addressing what is a global problem. So we've got a lot to celebrate in terms of Africa's resilience and its capacity to innovate. Two things I would stress going forward. The first is an important one, and it's got to be addressed urgently. And I'm glad to say the Chamber once again is showing its value in terms of the leadership it's giving in this area. And I'm glad to say too, again, there's bipartisan support, particularly in the House of Lords, for this initiative. And that is to ensure that the trade and transport links between South Africa and the UK are reinforced by the proper designation of South Africa, not as a red list country, but as a green list country. So once again, we can have South Africans and Brits coming together. We can have the hub that is Johannesburg, the hub that is Heathrow, working together in order to save, underpin, create new jobs, to build and strengthen that relationship that you referred to earlier on, Chairman, in terms of UK and South Africa. But it does require that South Africa is treated fairly by HMG and that it's redesignated from red to green and brought into line, after all, with the approach that's been taken by the US and the EU. The final point I would make, and here I'm glad to say we've seen real progress, is the importance of trade, of intra-African trade, as well as trade between Africa and the rest of the world. And there we can celebrate in a year that's been a difficult year in so many ways. We can celebrate the fact that we now have an African continental free trade area, which is a major opportunity for African countries to bring 30 million people out of extreme poverty, to raise the incomes of 68 million others of those who live on £5 on less than $5.50 a day. And with the implementation of the AFCFTA, trade facilitation measures, cut red tape, simplified customs procedures, that can drive somewhat $292 billion worth of the $450 billion in potential income gains. And a South African is leading up this initiative in the Secretariat based in Accra, the capital of my other homeland, Ghana. So that's good news for Africa. It's good news for the private sector. it also represents an important opportunity to bring together those strands of civil society, the private sector, the public sector, within the context of an enabling environment provided by a government. That's what we hope for. That's what we work for. That's what the Chamber is such an important part of achieving. But it's all for nothing without the people we are celebrating today. The innovators who display that resilience, who move us from survival to success. Ubuntu is what it's all about. We are what we are because of others. We have the potential in Africa to demonstrate just what it is that we can offer the world. And for me, the call to action, the call to getting on with the job in hand, of freeing up the capacity of our innovators in the public and in the private sector to contribute to the progress of the continent. That's summed up with that great South African cry, Vikuzenzele, Vikuzenzele. Let's just get up and do it.
You're going to have to go through that pronunciation again so we can all get that right, because I love
Vikuzenzele.
Vikuzenzele. Fantastic. That is a new one. And I see somebody has very kindly written it in the chat for us so that I can at least get the phonetics of it right. Thank you very much. If there were an exam question right now, and we asked the crowd that is with us today, which are from many continents, and we asked them, what were the three most important things that worry us as South Africans today? I think your three pillars would have been the answer for everybody. They are the most critical things that the country needs to worry about and needs to get right. And that being the vaccinations, the red listing, which I'd like to talk about a little bit later, and the African Free Trade Initiative. But the importance is public, private partnership by innovators and people that are members, to be members, and those that actually get on and do it, which is what you have just said, get up and do it. Okay, new one on me. I learn something every day. I learned the other day exactly what Ubuntu meant as well. So you always know what it means. You don't know the exact proverb behind it. So that I've also learned. I would like to share now with you a second video, which is the next grouping of people that have been resilient and have been innovators, and for whom Lord Boateng has given true commendation for the value that you can bring to changing the future of South Africa, the economy of South Africa. And most important, as we stand for as the Chamber, our purpose is to uplift the lives of South Africa. Here goes for the next one.
If I told you that I get introduced as the lady who makes the fat clothes, would it make you cringe? I'm Hayley Joy Weinberg, and I am the very proud owner, designer, and manufacturer of the size-inclusive fashion collections under the Hayley Joy label. Our mission is to make women who are maligned because of their size and their shape feel special. Our motto, real shapes for real women in the real world.
there. When lockdown came, I decided to do something different and innovative, put together my Celtic roots and some artisanal skills, and have managed to provide employment and upskill training for a number of disabled guys. And we produce these very lovely handcrafted sporrans for kilt wearers around the world. We export now off of our website and through social media marketing, and it's proved to be a winner. Afro-Celtic sporrans.
Hi, my name is Webster Senasi and I run TW Publishers, a global award-winning publishing house. We have begun giving our clients exactly what they need, which is holistic publishing. And we weren't just publishing books for the sake of doing it, but we were helping them to sell books, to market, to advertise, giving them what they truly need in order to be successful.
Again, I'm moved by what people have done. It's actually quite difficult in our stories. You actually feel quite bottled up. Some beautiful stories there. Again, people I know, people I don't know, people that are here today, and I've seen them on the chat line. Well done, guys, all of you who are here and took the trouble to join us as well, as with your families. It's really, really wonderful. So what I want to just pick up on, one of the things I did see in the chat was Lord Boateng made reference to the eagle and its different feathers and different capabilities and how that whole patchwork works together. But the lovely story that was picked up in the chat is that the eagle has two wings. So it has to work in partnership with others. You cannot do things alone. You don't have one wing, you have two wings. And I thought that was a lovely added analogy to the one that Lord Boateng brought for us. So thank you for the team that built that story on the chat line. Lord Boateng talked about the vaccine, he talked about the red listing of the country, and he talked about the Africa Free Trade Agreement. One of the things that the Chamber has in its charter is to do lobbying and advocacy, which is not something we've done a lot of before. We've done it in small doses, but not in a huge way. And this red listing status that South Africa retained at the last committee meeting has galvanized the country into action, whether it be business, government, or whatever, and including us. So it's interesting to see how we all thought it would all come right, and it didn't, and only now are we doing something about it. In a way, other countries probably did a lot quicker. And I think a lesson to us all as a country is we're not on the top, we're not the most important place in the world. We have to state our case, we have to win our battles, we have to make ourselves heard. And I think that's the message that comes out of it for me. And what we've done is we've made contact with the committee members that are involved in the decision making. We've made contact with people in the House of Lords as well, members of Parliament that we know, and we've worked in conjunction and complemented some of the work that's been done by our own High Commissioner. And Tebi's word, she says, that's all I'm doing at the moment. I'm buried in the process of helping the country get out of that status, as is Anthony Phillipson and his deputy in Pretoria, on behalf of the UK government, lobbying very hard within the UK government to get South Africa changed. The objective is at the next meeting, which is the 8th of October, so that we can save the tourist season for South Africa and at least get it going as quickly as possible. Another 3 weeks, just put that season at unbelievable risk. So the Chamber's going out of its way to do its bit. If anything, any messages you want to get across and you feel we're the vehicle to help you, please let us know. We are working in that space. One of the other things we're doing on a completely different mechanism, rather than the written word, trying to convince people to understand our standpoint, is 5 of us are actually walking the London Marathon, Virgin London Marathon. And we're walking the virtual version, of which there are 50,000 people globally that are walking the virtual London Marathon. And we are doing it between 5 of us on 4 continents. Canada, South Africa, Isle of Man, and I see we've got a few people from the Isle of Man on with us today, and myself from the UK. So we've got the 4 of us, and we are going to dress under our Breadline Africa tank tops, because they've given us tank tops. I'm probably sure it's not going to be that warm on Sunday going out at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to need to put something on underneath, and we're all going to wear green. And then we're going to use that in social media to try and get our message across in another way that's more visual, and just to galvanize the interest in the fact that South Africa doesn't deserve to be where it is, but we have got to own that message, and we have got to be the ones to be out there to get that message across to the UK government. And the UK and South Africa have had relations for so many centuries. To now just hold that against the relationship is going to damage both countries, because the UK, through Brexit, has exactly the same need to build relationships and to have good channels of communication for trade, for investment, for tourism. How many Britons love to go to South Africa and enjoy Christmas down there with the wind if you're in the Cape? We can't do that if we have to, well, you can, but having to go elsewhere for another 10 or 14 days, it's just not feasible for a lot of people, cost or time. And business is being severely impacted by it, as well as the tourism industry. So we feel very strongly about it. If any of you want to join us, put any messages in the chat, we'll pick them up, and we will use them in our lobbying effort as well to join the many that Lord Boating made reference to that are actually now galvanized to make a difference. And that's where South Africans are absolutely amazing. We assume it's all going to be okay. When it's not, we do something about it. But sometimes maybe we leave it a little late. Maybe we should learn not to do just in time. I'm very good at just in time, but I don't think countries should always do it to that extent. And now I would like to share with you the 3rd video. And I have to say, I can't believe that Stuart has made these videos of 5 minutes long. They feel like a minute. They go so quickly. They really are very, very special moments for us to share with you, and the stories of what these people have done. I just find absolutely awe-inspiring. So thank you all for your efforts that you put together. These videos are wonderful to watch, but the stories are far more important than the quality of what you've given. It's actually the message of what you've done, and I commend you for that. So to all of us, let's have another interlude of pleasure.
Hi, this is Mike Wardle, Director of ZN Group, the City of London's leading commercial think tank. We run the FS Club, which is an executive knowledge network in technology and finance. When lockdown took place in March 2020, we moved immediately from running face-to-face events, which had been our way of operating, to running webinars, and we've hosted over 260 webinars since March 2020. This has enabled us to range very broadly across the fields of finance and technology and to bring in leading experts from across the world to broaden the offer to our membership and to make the very most of virtual technology.
I'm Raina Krania. From an early age, I've developed a passion for cooking. I've got a background in catering, which led me to trialling cooking on a budget workshops on campus. No Cook is what I've been working on over the past 10 years. It provides an online platform to allow people to share knowledge, teach people how to cook at home, and bring diverse groups of people together to create a community. It also supports young people on a low income to create cheap and nutritious food. Additionally, it helps develop and research culinary sustainability and additional recipe books.
Martin Watkins. Starting a new business last year, I wasn't eligible for government grants or bounce back loans and simply had to trust in myself. Focusing on financial and IT innovation of digital assets, crypto and blockchain, I built a consultancy, continually leveraging my network. I've also completed a fundraise and am building a new digital utility. It isn't easy, requires self-belief, stubborn resilience, and hard work. Running 2 startups 1,000 miles apart, I am excited, earned 3 times more money, and received honorary fellowship at the Securities Institute.
Again, that was an amazing array of achievements, and thank you, Stuart. I requested Stuart to put mine together, seeing as I was recommended. And I'd say thank you very much. That's a wonderful piece of creative art, and you have me quite embarrassed. But thank you very much, and to all of you for supporting us, because we couldn't do this without you. That is the most critical element and the most important element for us, for you to understand. And the important thing from the Chamber's perspective is its own sustainability. And its sustainability needs to go beyond one chairman. And I'm third chairman, but beyond current chairman. And we are working very hard at creating a much broader based reach chamber than we've ever had before in the past. And a lot of that work is being achieved through chapters. I was working with the gentlemen in Jersey who are working on the launch of the Jersey chapter. We've got the Isle of Man chapter that is already launched very, very successfully on Heritage Day. Managed to go into the middle of nowhere in an island and go and have a braai with a flag up. And it was absolutely amazing, such spirit. The Isle of Man also had Heritage Day. We've got a chapter in the Isle of Man, and we even made it to Manx Radio. The KZN chapter, which is the first of our South African chapters, the other is Cape in Hot on its Toes and a few others to follow, had a fantastic launch, and some of the faces you saw on the video shared that day with us and the importance of what has happened in KZN and the rebuild of KZN since the rioting that occurred back in July. So it really is important that we all work together for the Chamber, for the benefit of the future of South African trade, South African tourism, and importantly, the relationship with the UK. So the Chamber is there offering support to anybody that is South African related, that is in South Africa and wants to do business internationally. Please talk to us. That is what we do. We put members together to provide you the solution that you're looking for. Make the introductions. Are there people that you need to speak to in government? Are there people you need to speak to in an industry? Is there an event or a webinar that we can showcase things you're doing? And provided we have your membership, we are so willing to help you, because your membership is what makes us sustainable beyond the individuals that are running the organization today. We have to look bigger. And there is one or two more days if anybody is keen on becoming a director of the Chamber. We have got the applications for directorship open until the close of business on Friday. And anyone who thinks their efforts and their capabilities match those that we're looking for, please look at the website and please put in your application as soon as possible. And if you don't make it first time round, we're going to be looking at more directors coming up in the future, so please don't give up. The other aspect is our ExCo. We need a robust ExCo to run this Chamber. It's critically important to its sustainability that we have the diversity of capabilities, the diversity of regions, the diversity of interests. So we're looking at creating the formalizing ESG chapter, and the other one we're looking at working on next is probably the financial services chapter. And there'll be many more that are going to follow over and above, for example, some of our local UK regional chapters like East of England, which is a very successful operating chapter of the Chamber. So lots of footprints, lots of little paw prints all over the place that we have got, that we are making ourselves relevant to local communities as well as to global communities, which is so important for us here at the sort of center part of this virtual Chamber, because we don't have offices. We've lived in a virtual world long before the pandemic. So thank you very much to all of you. It's because of you that we are successful. It's because of you that we can commend those that have been resilient and innovative. But I have to ask one question. Why was the predominant, if I had to take any one industry amongst those we saw in the 3 filmings, was alcohol? Maybe the pandemic has something to do with that, or maybe it's South Africans that have something to do with that. But I have to say, the wines of South Africa is what I've spent my time enjoying. They are very, very special. And thanks to all of you who brought South African wines to the UK, and those of the caliber that we enjoy drinking, and not everyday stuff, because South Africa has such good quality wine, and it's lovely to see it now available in the UK easily, and through some of our specialist members who do wine tasting of the good quality South African wines. Watch the website. We'll have many more of them, and hopefully many more in person than we've had to do virtually up until now. I haven't seen anything specific that anybody has asked a question about, so I don't have anything to answer in the next 30 seconds. But I have to say that there was some wonderful comments, thanks, congratulations, and some business interests that are coming through. We will be able to save the chat. We'll pick up on those business interests that have been put forward, and we will come back to you on those, but please feel free to email us as well. And to my team that made today possible, Stuart, you did a fantastic job, to Annette and to June, who supported him in pulling together this evening. And thank you, Lord Boateng. You were absolutely wonderful to share the evening. And the one words that was in the chat saying, I couldn't have chosen a better person to have shared the evening with. I really thank you. And from all of us, Nomatemba Tambo, I hope you get better quickly. There have been many people that have wished you best wishes, and good health as soon as possible. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in person before your time is over. And thank you very much for all the support you give in the Chamber and Lord Boating, the support to South Africa and the initiatives that we're all working on together at the moment. I thank you very, very much. And I think that is probably us, other than to say, Vukuzenzele. Get up and do it yourself. Thank you very much to everybody for a wonderful evening. Thank you very much, Lord Boating. If you'd like to voice your thank yous without your mute button on, you're more than welcome.
Great spending time with you. Go for it. Vukuzenzele.
Vukuzenzele to everybody. Thank you very much for our Ubuntu time together. It's very important that South Africans pull together. It's not just the bride that brings us together. It is our South Africanness and the need to fight certain of the causes and not to assume that they're going to look after themselves. Thank you all and good night. Thanks for watching.